In a small, peaceful town surrounded by green valleys and quiet streams, there lived a man named Ethan Rowe. Ethan was a humble lantern maker. His lamps shone softly through the streets each night, lighting the paths of travelers and neighbors. He was gentle, patient, and known for his kindness, but not everyone valued him the same way. Across the lane lived John Miller, the town's tax collector, proud, sharp-tongued, and always suspicious of others. He often mocked Ethan, saying, "Your lamps are not worth the price you charge." His words spread like wildfire through the marketplace, making others question Ethan's honesty. Ethan tried to explain himself countless times. He spoke calmly about the cost of fine oil, the delicate glass, and the care that went into every lamp he made. But no matter what he said, people only heard what they wanted to believe. The more he tried to prove his truth, the more they twisted it. At night, sitting by the glow of his own lamps, Ethan often wondered, "Why can't people see my heart? Why do I need to explain what's already true?" Days turned into months, and still, whispers followed him wherever he went, that he was greedy, that he overcharged. His honesty was questioned again and again, until his voice began to fade. One cold morning, an old traveler arrived at the village, a calm-faced monk passing through. People gathered around him for blessings, but Ethan stood quietly at the edge, waiting for his turn. When the crowd thinned, he finally stepped forward and said softly, "Sir, I have always been honest, yet no one believes me. What should I do to make them understand?" The monk smiled gently, and his answer changed Ethan's life forever. The monk looked at Ethan with calm, steady eyes. He didn't rush to answer. Instead, he asked softly, "Tell me, my son, if a man believes the sky is green, what color is the sky to him?" Ethan frowned slightly. He would still see it as green, even if it's blue. The monk nodded. "Then tell me, Ethan, would your explanations ever change his eyes?" Ethan stood silent for a moment and then shook his head. "No, they wouldn't." The monk smiled gently and placed a hand on his shoulder. "Then stop explaining colors to those who refuse to see. Let your work be your voice. Silence is not weakness. It is peace in motion." Those words sank deep into Ethan's heart. For the first time in months, he felt something he had lost: calmness. He realized that trying to prove his truth to closed minds only stole his own peace. From that day onward, Ethan changed. When people questioned him, he no longer defended himself. When John mocked him in public, Ethan simply smiled and bowed politely. At first, everyone thought he was guilty. "See? He can't even respond," John sneered. But Ethan didn't need to. His actions would speak louder than any words. He returned to his workshop, crafting each lantern with love and focus. Every night, he placed one glowing lamp outside his door. Its light shone longer and brighter than any other in the village, a silent message to all who passed by. And slowly, that light began to speak the truth that words never could. Days passed, and Ethan kept working quietly in his little shop. The world outside was full of noise, gossip, laughter, arguments. But inside his heart, there was peace. He had stopped explaining, stopped defending. His hands did the talking now, through every lantern he shaped. Each evening, he cleaned the glass, polished the brass, and filled every lamp with pure oil. When he lit them, a golden glow spread across the street. Travelers often paused, watching the steady light that never flickered, even in the wind. They said, "That man's lamps feel alive." At first, no one understood the change. The villagers whispered again, "Maybe he gave up. Maybe he's hiding something." But Ethan paid no attention. His silence became his armor, and his calmness became his message. One night, a strong storm hit the town. The wind howled, and the rain poured endlessly. Every lantern in the street went out, except one. Ethan's lamp, standing proudly outside his shop, continued to burn through the storm. When morning came, people gathered around it in awe. "How did this one survive?" someone asked. Ethan only smiled and said, "Perhaps it stayed strong because it didn't fight the wind. It just kept shining." From that day forward, people began to see him differently. They no longer mocked his silence. They respected it. His lamps became symbols of patience and truth. Even those who once doubted him began to sense something special in his calmness. John, however, still carried pride in his heart. He couldn't accept that Ethan's peace was stronger than his words, and soon life would give him a lesson of his own. Despite the village's growing admiration for Ethan, John Miller refused to change. His pride wouldn't allow it. Every time someone praised Ethan's peaceful nature, John's anger grew deeper. He mocked Ethan in public, sneering, "He's too quiet because he has nothing honest to say." But Ethan never reacted. His calm silence became more powerful than any argument. One chilly evening, John needed a lantern for his home. The winter nights had grown darker, and his old lamp had stopped working. He hesitated for days, but eventually he swallowed his pride and walked to Ethan's workshop. The small bell above the door jingled as he entered. Ethan looked up, his hands still busy polishing a lantern. John placed a few coins on the counter. "I need one of your lamps," he muttered. Ethan said nothing harsh, no bitterness in his voice. He simply nodded and handed John a lamp. "It will serve you well," he said kindly. John took it and left, unsure how to respond. That night, as he lit the lantern, its flame glowed steady and soft. He stood there watching the light dance across his walls, and for the first time, his heart felt strangely quiet. The next day, John noticed something new. His porch, once dim and unwelcoming, now felt warm and peaceful. Neighbors who passed by would smile at the soft glow. And deep inside, John began to feel something he hadn't felt in years. Humility. He didn't admit it aloud, but Ethan's silent strength had reached him. It was then John realized, sometimes light teaches more than words ever could. One afternoon he walked quietly to Ethan's shop, not to buy anything, just to say thank you. "I was wrong about you," John said softly. Ethan simply smiled. "You weren't wrong, John. You just hadn't seen yet." John lowered his eyes, humbled by those words. As time passed, Ethan's name spread beyond his little town. People didn't just come for his lanterns, they came for his calmness. He had become a symbol of quiet strength, a reminder that peace doesn't come from being understood, but from understanding yourself. When you stop explaining yourself to those who never wish to listen, you free your heart. You begin to live for peace, not approval. You start to shine from within, just like Ethan's lanterns, calm, steady, and real. That night, the village looked like a sea of little stars. Every home glowed with a light that Ethan's heart had inspired. And in that silence, everyone finally understood. Truth doesn't need to shout to be heard. If this story touched your heart, please like and subscribe to my channel for more inspiring stories that warm your soul and guide your light.